What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Mitch of Mitchpiration. If it's your first time coming to my channel is all about life, manhood, motivation, and spiritual development. So if any of those things are important to you or anybody in your community, please subscribe, have them come and subscribe. I have a variety of different video content I talk about related to those 4 topics, but today is another installment of the Just My Thoughts series. Today we're going to touch on something that I haven't really spoken about. Many people know, if you've been on my channel for a while, I have a master's in public administration. So I've taken a lot of time to really understand policy and just the political spectrum as a whole. So today I just want to talk a little bit about this whole concept of tariffs, which is a policy Donald Trump is implementing in order to get rid of the income tax. So we're going to talk about what tariffs are, how it works, who it impacts, and what it means for the bottom line for the everyday consumer, right? So one thing I want you to understand is that there's a story or a narrative being shaped that, like, by removing the federal income tax, you'll get more money back in your check. Yes, that is true. Right, that is absolutely true. So if you get, I don't know, $12,000 pulled out of your check every year for federal tax money, you'll receive that $12,000 back distributed throughout the pay periods in your check for the year. But what I really want to talk about is how tariffs work. So the definition of tariffs, and I have my computer here, the formal definition says tariffs are taxes charged on goods imported from other countries. And a more thorough definition says a tariff is a tax imposed by the government of a country or by a supranational union on imports or exports of goods. So basically, the best way I can articulate this is to just give you a scenario. So if you are a business owner, or if there are businesses out there that get any kind of goods or supplies from countries like China, Canada, any country where import and export work is happening, you're going to now be taxed on that. So regardless of what the business is, let's just say, because I was just thinking about this with my friend today, because she's in the cosmetology world. So say, for instance, a beauty supply company sells wigs, right? Say they sell say they're used to ordering $10,000 worth of wigs from China. Well, hypothetically, if now they're being charged a 20% tariff or 20% extra taxes to get that imported, which means shipped from China to their business in the US, they now have to pay an additional 20% of that $10,000, which, when you do the math, means they'll pay an extra $2,000. So they'll go from paying $10,000 to $12,000. What that means for their business is that they're going to have to increase the price of their products to make a profit, because now you're buying all your product in bulk at a higher rate, and more likely you're either going to break even or lose money unless you increase the price of your products. So what does that mean for the consumer? So right now, from a business standpoint, the business owner is taking a hit because they're being forced to spend more to get their product and supplies imported from the country they're doing business with. Then as the consumer, the people buying these products, we pay a big part of that too, because whatever that increased price is, that's the price that is presented to us in stores. So if you're a woman who purchases wigs, that wig that you normally may pay $150 for will now be $200 plus, depending on what the tariff is that business is having to pay to get it imported, shipped from that country to their business in the US. And so, yes, while being able to keep more of your check due to federal income tax going away is great, it then now puts you in a position where you have to use wisdom when you spend a little more, because now what we're going to start seeing is that product prices are going to go up. I don't care what the business is, because countries that, or not just countries, but businesses that are in our nation, in the United States, that are doing business outside and rely on these outside countries for supplies and products to make or create or whatever they're doing, they're now being charged an additional fee to make sure that those goods get to their doorstep so they can sell it, whether it's online or in a storefront. So as consumers, now we foot the bill because we are going to be paying whatever that increased price is. So in the United States, there is a lot of importing and exporting that happens. And yes, there are countries that use our services in the US and we'll be taxing them the same way we're going to be getting taxed. But I'm just speaking for us in the US. So the consumers will be responsible for actually paying that raised price that that business now has to charge because they're now having to pay an additional tariff or tax on their shipment of goods and products that they want to sell. So like I said, it's just putting us in a position where we have to use more wisdom when we consume, when we buy. Some people think this is great. Some people don't think it's great. I don't really know what side of the fence I fall on, but I do know that I expect to see increased prices in a lot of capacities. And so I just wanted to help, educate everybody and help people understand exactly what this tariff system is, what it is about, who it helps or hurts, and just who's all involved. So the bottom line is everybody is involved. The person that's getting the product shipped to them as the business, they're involved because they're paying the tariff. The country they're getting the products from are involved because they're getting the money that comes from the tariff. And then we as the consumers are a part of that too, because we're going to be the ones presented with those raised prices on our products and goods and services, if those organizations, businesses, companies are utilizing any kind of imported goods. So that's really what this looks like. All I can say is, like, moving forward, just use a lot of wisdom. It would be really tough to have to determine whether you're going to pay a phone bill over buying groceries, or if you'll have to determine if you have to cut back on groceries just so you can buy clothes. Like, all these things are factors that contribute to this tariff system. So to me, are we really gaining anything from no income tax? In my personal opinion, no, because we're going to pay for it on the consumer side of things when it's time to purchase goods and services. So my personal opinion is, like, whether we had income tax or tariffs, it really doesn't matter. Money is going to be spent. Prices are still outrageous. I haven't heard any real significant information about how this inflation is going to be dropped. There's a lot of other actions happening publicly and behind the scenes that I would view as unconstitutional, but that's a conversation for a different day. But I did want to take some time to help everybody understand what tariffs are, how tariffs work, and who's ultimately footing that bill, which, if we're going to be completely honest, is the consumer. We're the ones who are going to be hit with those increased prices that we will have to choose to pay for or not pay for. But I'm not saying don't go out and spend, right? So if you got it, if you have money and you have freedom to buy nicer things or more expensive things, do it. I just know that's not everybody's story. So I don't want to discourage anybody or inflict fear in anybody, but I do want people to be educated and informed. And so this is basically what this tariff system is, what it will look like. I'm not sure what these negotiations are currently looking like with other countries and where things stand. I know there's been a lot of importation activities put on hold until we could come to agreeable numbers with what people will be getting charged for tariffs. And so all I gotta say is, as of this moment, I wouldn't focus on buying anything from China. Like, I know you got Shein and all these other clothing brands and things like that that are made in China. I would completely stop trying to purchase online right now till all the smoke has been cleared and we have a better understanding of what things are going to cost. But yeah, man, I just encourage people to start building relationships. If you know local farmers in your community, go get farm-raised goods instead of buying the, as I call it, the lab stuff in the grocery stores. But this is a perfect time to start building community, understanding who your resources are in your community and how you can still get your needs met, whether it's through food, clothing, water, things like that, and just knowing who those people are to help grow their business right here, homegrown in the United States, and just not putting so much faith and so much stock in what's coming in from China all the time. But yeah, just use wisdom in your spending. Make sure you're being wise with your money, and don't rush to spend. That's all I can say. That's my biggest motivation, and that's my biggest advice to myself. Don't be so pressed to immediately spend every time you get money. Be very aware of what's going on, because politics really does affect everything in life, whether you know that or not. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, guys. This tariff system is real. Please educate yourself on it, and know how you want to navigate life. Be strategic. Whether you voted for Donald Trump as president or not, strategy for your life still matters. Financial strategy especially. So just make sure you're managing your finances well, being good stewards of your money, and I'm sure everything else will fall into place. So until the next video, this has been just my thoughts on the tariff situation. All right, talk to y'all later.